Hey everybody, I hope that you are having a good weekend. I hope that you all got my email that the test is postponed until Thursday. So I'm going to do several word problems right now, but I just want to go over what the rest of this week is going to look like. Your quiz is due on Tuesday night at midnight. You have 3 attempts to take that quiz, so keep that in mind. Your test is on Thursday during class. The homework for Chapter 3 and Chapter 4 is listed, and that's due on Thursday because that's the day we're taking the test. And Tuesday we will do a review. So bring any questions that you have about everything to class on Tuesday, and we can work out those problems and go over them. So I'm going to do about 3 word problems. The first word problem that I'm going to do is on page 160. Page 160 in your book, and it is number 109. That is the one that I'm going to do first. So it's page 160 in your book, and it's number 9. So I'm going to read it, and then I will work out the details. Number 109. The perimeter of a rectangle is 32 meters, and its area is 48 square meters. Find the length and width of the rectangle. So as always, I always want to encourage you to draw a picture. So here is my rectangle. And it says the perimeter of the rectangle is 32 inches. And the perimeter is the area around the rectangle. So this is our length, this is our width. So our perimeter would be length plus W plus W. Okay? We can also write that as 2L plus 2W. And we are told that 2L plus 2W is 32 inches. And that is just given, that we are told that in the word problem. Then it says the area is 48 square. Actually, we're talking about meters. My bad. I wrote inches, but we're talking about meters. So let me fix that. There we go. So we're talking about meters. And the area is 48 square meters. And area is length times width, and that is going to be 48 square meters, length times width. So really what we've got to do here is we've got to put this in a format where then we can figure it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get my length or my width in terms of one or the other. So I'm going to solve for one of those. So I'm going to take this right here. I'm going to take this formula, and I'm just going to solve for L. Now, I could have solved for W, but it really doesn't matter. You can solve for either one. So I have 2L plus 2W equals 32. So I'm solving for L. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 2W from both sides. Okay, so I have 2L equals 32 minus 2W. And then I'm going to divide everything by 2. And this actually goes in super nicely. So I'm going to have L equals 16 because 32 divided by 2 is 16. And then I'm going to have negative W because 2 divided by 2 is just 1. And so I'm left with 16 minus W. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this in a different color just so everybody can really tell what I'm talking about. I'm going to take my area. So I've got 48 equals length times width. So I'm going to take out that L and I'm going to put in 16 minus W. So I have 48 equals 16 minus W. That's my L. And I'm going to multiply that times W. So now I'm going to simplify. So I'm going to say W times 16 is 16W minus W squared. Now at this point, what I have is a quadratic, and so I can solve for W. Now, in order to solve for W, I need to set it equal to 0. So I'm going to erase this stuff over here just so that I can manipulate this word problem or this equation so you can see what I'm doing. So I have 48 equals 16W minus W squared. So I'm going to add W squared to both sides. And the reason that I did that, if you see that this right here, do you see how that W is negative? I don't want W to be negative. W is going to be my leading coefficient, and so I don't want that to be, or W squared is going to be my leading term, and I don't want that to be negative. So that's why I'm moving it to the left. And then I'm also going to subtract 16W from both sides. So I am going to end up with W squared minus 16W plus 48. And that is going to be equal to 0. And at this point, I can factor this. And my product is 48. My sum is negative 16. And so my numbers are going to be negative 12 and negative 4. So W can be 12, or W can be 4. And so if I were to take 4 and plug it into this formula right here for W, then what I would get then, so if W is 4, so if this is 4 meters, then when I plug it back in here, then my length is 12 meters. But if I took 12 meters and plugged it in for W, then my length would be 4. So the dimensions of this rectangle are 12 meters and 4 meters. And you may end up with 4 meters for the length and 12 meters for the width, or you could end up with 12 meters for the width and 4 meters for the length. So it doesn't matter. So 12 meters by 4 meters is the answer to this problem.